ESPN, the app. The 2020 Heisman Trophy Finalist Reveal Show presented by Nissan is next. Happy holidays, everybody.
Welcome to the 2020 Heisman Trophy Finalist Reveal Show, presented by Nissan.
I never dreamed that anything like this would happen to me.
Receiving this honor is the dream of every college football player in the country.
And the winner is
Eddie George, Phil Campbell, John
My heart's about to come out of my shirt.
I'm a little overwhelmed right now, I'm sorry.
The youngest member of my family is very ill. If I could dedicate this trophy to him tonight and give him a couple days of happiness, this is worth everything.
I'm up here for all those kids in Athens that go home to not a lot of food on the table, hungry after school. And you guys can be up here too.
I do everything in my power to represent the trophy, but I will represent what a Heisman Trophy winner should be.
Welcome to the Heisman Trophy Finalist Reveal Show presented by Nissan. It's 2020 as we continue our virtual presentations. Glad you could join us from ESPN headquarters in Bristol, Connecticut. I'm your host, Kevin Nagandi. Over the next 30 minutes, we'll reveal the top 10 voting results for the 86th Heisman Trophy and announce in alphabetical order the finalists. The deadline for voters to return their ballots was this past Monday after the conclusion of the conference championship games, which is consistent in years past. And a reminder, for the 27th consecutive year, the Heisman Trophy will be awarded live on ESPN Tuesday, January 5th at 7 p.m. Eastern Time. And it's my pleasure to introduce two men who understand the Heisman experience. 1991 winner Desmond Howard, 2007 winner Tim Tebow. Fellas, this is a new show, and in a year where anything can happen, Tim, it feels like the 2020 Heisman race is wide open.
Yeah, Kevin, I totally agree. I really feel like it's wide open, but it's not because we don't have players that are deserving. I think it's because we have so many players that are deserving. Shoot, I think there's 3 players on one team in Alabama that are all deserving, and so I'm so excited about this race because not only are these players deserving, but they're also on great teams, and they have a lot of Heisman moments, which we all know is key.
Yeah, I agree with Tim. We have so many guys who are out there who are deserving to have their name thrown in the hat. Not only do you have multiple guys on Alabama's roster, but how about Florida's roster too? I mean, these guys are so talented. These teams have played so great, despite the fact that we had an unprecedented season with the COVID-19 and everything they've had to go through. I'm just so happy that we've reached this moment.
Did you say Florida? Nice segue there, Des. Let's go to the top 10, and let's begin with maybe the biggest threat in college football. Kyle Pitts, the Florida junior from Philadelphia, is the first tight end to be in the top 10 in the Heisman voting since Notre Dame's Ken McAfee 43 years ago. And Des, what made Pitts so dangerous this season?
Kevin, this guy is so rare and so unique. He's a matchup nightmare for all opposing defenses. You can line him up attached in the traditional tight end position. You can put him in the slot, or you can put him out wide. He has supreme confidence in his hands. He's a great route runner, and he has excellent route running skills. I mean, I just love the way he catches the ball. He attacks the ball, and I tell you what, this guy was one of my favorite players throughout the season. What hurt him is that he missed about 3 games. He was in concussion protocol. But when he was on the field, guys, the Florida Gators, they were a completely different offense. 12 receiving touchdowns, 18 yards per catch as a tight end. Are you kidding me? He was something that we've never, ever seen before at the tight end position.
And he
what
did
a
it,
player Kyle Pitts was.
And he did it in only 8 games. All right, number 9, the all-time winningest quarterback in Notre Dame history, Ian Book, the redshirt senior who's a marketing major. He has left his mark on the Irish record books, including 266 consecutive attempts without throwing a pick. And Tim, a signature win over Clemson at home in November. Where did Book take the next step this season?
Well, I'll tell you what, I got one word for this kid, and that's winner. Everything that he does, he rises to the occasion. This kid is a winner. Whatever it takes, whenever it takes, he finds a way to get it done. That's why they were able to get so many wins this season. Listen, you can't talk about his stats because not all stats are created equal. Right? They have a lot of 2 tight ends and a lot of running game, and so he's not going to put up the same stats other people are, but he's a winner. And when they need his best, he delivered with his best. That's one reason why he is here, that he's that this is someone we're talking about right now, is because in the big moments, in the clutch moments, when they were tied, when they were behind in fourth quarters against Clemson, that's when you saw this kid's courage, his heart, and you see it right there, 30 career wins. Yeah. And he made a statement this year as a winner.
Think about it, the legendary quarterbacks at Notre Dame, Horning, Theismann, Montana, Rice, and Quinn. It's Book's 30-4 record that stands on top as Book and Notre Dame will face Alabama in the college football semifinal New Year's Day on ESPN. At number 8, another quarterback. That's BYU's Zach Wilson, who led his Cougars to a bowl win earlier this week. The junior is the first BYU player to finish in the top 10 in Heisman voting since Ty Detmer finished 3rd in 1991 behind our Desmond Howard. Des Wilson's a threat with his arm, the footwork, the legs on every single play.
Kev, that's what I loved about watching this young man play. He could run the ball, he could throw the ball, a true dual threat quarterback. Ran for 10 touchdowns and passed for 30. And check this out, protected the ball extremely well. Only threw 3, that's right, 3 interceptions throughout the season. And I was watching one game against Houston, and Andre Ware was calling the game. Andre's like, look at his accuracy. Look at the ball placement. And that's why I really had an appreciation for this young man's throwing talents. Completed 73% of his passes on the season, and he had BYU rolling until they ran into Coastal Carolina. But you got to give those guys credit. Took that game on short notice. Very happy to see that Zach Wilson is in the top 10 as a finalist for the Heisman. Well deserved. The explosive plays always stood out, including Wilson's deep ball there with BYU. As we take a look here, recapping 10 through 8 in the 2020 Heisman voting. Tight end Kyle Pitts from Florida, Notre Dame quarterback Ian Book, and Zach Wilson of BYU had the 8 most points in the voting system. We'd like to take a moment and pay our respects here to the Golden Boy. That is Paul Horning, who passed away last month at the age of 84. The Notre Dame legend won the Heisman Trophy in 1956, despite his Fighting Irish team finishing 2-8, and he could do it all. Punt, pass, run, and kick. He remains the only Heisman winner in the 86-year history of the award to win the honor while on a team with a losing record. And Tim, you shared a tweet about your time with Horning a few years ago. How about a commercial shoot last year with Heisman House? What was that moment like for you?
Well, getting to know Paul was an absolute blessing, and it was a treasure. And I'll tell you what, he brought joy to so many people, but especially in the Heisman House. He literally made us all laugh, as you can see right there. And I'll also say, I think he's the best storyteller of any Heisman winner that I ever had the chance to meet. He would just tell his stories, and everybody, we would be late for the shoot because we would be sitting there listening to Paul. He was truly someone that brought a lot of joy to our lives.
Yeah, I agree with Tim. No one could hold court like Paul, and he was just like a gentle giant, so joyful, such a pleasure to be around, told wonderful stories, was always kind to not only us, but our families and everyone who was around us. And, we're going to miss Paul, but that guy, he was a tremendous asset to the Heisman family. We're going to miss him, and condolences to his family.
Legendary man on the college level as well as the NFL level. Rest in peace, Golden Boy. Coming up, could we see a repeat from a year ago where teammates are finalists for college football's most prestigious player award? And what about the preseason favorites, Fields and Lawrence? That's coming up on the Heisman Trophy Finalist Reveal Show presented by Nissan.
So, what should we do today?
The 2020 Heisman Trophy Finalist Reveal Show is presented by Nissan. Visit theheismanhouse.com and get in the game.
Back in 1961, President John F. Kennedy told Heisman winner Syracuse star Ernie Davis, quote, "Your high standards of performance on the field and off the field reflect the finest qualities of competition, sportsmanship, and citizenship. Davis was the first African American to win the Heisman. The 86th Heisman Trophy ceremony presented by Nissan will take place on Tuesday, January 5th, 7 p.m. on ESPN, hosted by Chris Fowler with Maria Taylor and Desmond Howard and Tim Tebow. Speaking of which, we have the 1991 winner as well as the 2007 winner joining us on a new show here as we unveil the 2020 Heisman finalists. Let's take a look now, 10 through 8. Of course, it starts with Florida tight end Kyle Pitts leading the way. He was a fantastic threat there in the 8 games he played for the Gators this past season with 12 touchdowns. Number 9, Notre Dame's Ian Book, the quarterback, the all-time winningest quarterback in Fighting Irish history, followed by Zach Wilson of BYU coming in at number 8. How about number 7, Ohio State star Justin Fields? You have to wonder where this young man would have been if the Buckeyes had played more than 6 games. A year ago, Fields was 3rd in the Heisman voting. This season, completing 72% of his passes as he remained a steady leader on and off the field for Ohio State. And Tim, what impressed you the most about Fields this season as the leader of the Buckeyes?
Well, I'll tell you, Justin had some elite games, but what impressed me most is his ability to do everything. He can throw the deep ball. I think he's gotten better underneath. He gets a little in trouble forcing it when he's in pressure sometimes, but also what I have to mention is he's probably one of the best athletes in the country. Not just one of the best players, but the best athletes. People don't realize how fast, how strong. This kid's probably going to run a low 4.4 at the combine, and he's actually extremely strong in the weight room. He's a high 400 to 500 pound squatter, and he is tough to tackle. That's why a lot of people come with free hits thinking, oh, we're going to get a sack. No, not so fast on this kid. He is a freak.
2020 Big Ten Offensive Player of the Year. All right, let's end the run of quarterbacks. The 6th spot in the Heisman voting is Iowa State running back Breece Hall, the sophomore from Kansas, rushed for over 1,400 yards, was named the Big 12 Offensive Player of the Year. Des, where did Hall make his biggest impact on the field?
Oh, man, I tell you what, Hall was a guy coming to the season. We didn't know exactly what we were going to get from him because Brock Purdy was a story. I mean, he had a fantastic season last year. You know, Breece Hall played well, but, man, he took his game to another level, Kevin. Over 1,400 yards on the ground, and averaged almost 6 yards per carry. And the thing about him that impressed me the most, he can do it inside in between the tackles, off tackle, and he has home run speed. Once he gets out in the open, he can go the distance. Tell you what, 19 rushing touchdowns, 2 on the season. It's great to see this Cyclone with this group and list of players because it's well deserved. Breece Hall had a fantastic season, guys.
First Cyclone to finish top 10 in the Heisman voting since Troy Davis in 1996. He finished 2nd. Coming in at number 5, another running back who headlined the SEC Championship as the game MVP. That is Alabama's Najee Harris, racking up 245 all-purpose yards, scoring 5 touchdowns in a high-scoring affair over Florida. And Tim, how would you describe Harris's impact in this record-setting Alabama offense?
Is that he can do anything and everything whenever it's needed. If you watch the SEC Championship, he took over that game as a receiver out of the backfield because of the way Florida was playing him. But also, he's great in the goal line. Look at 24 rushing touchdowns. But this kid came back to Alabama for a reason because he wanted to make a statement, and he has made a statement. He's one of the best players in the country, but also this kid has a chip on his shoulder that he wants to prove that he's one of the best players, not only now, but also heading into the draft.
And if you stack up his numbers of Mark Ingram and Derrick Henry, he has, wow, they stand out. He has put up similar digits to Alabama's Heisman-winning running backs. Maybe the most impressive thing about the senior, he's had only 1 fumble in his career. Ahead, we unveil the 2020 Heisman finalists. They include the preseason favorite and 3 other stars who at some point this season were front runners for college football's most prestigious individual award. That's coming up after this.
Looking forward to this season?
Call all 9s now.
The 2020 Heisman Trophy Finalist Reveal Show is presented by Nissan. Nissan, premier partner of the Heisman Trophy.
Who can forget last year's winner, Joe Burrow of LSU, showing his emotions on stage during his acceptance speech? Burrow gratefully admitting that's the most I've cried in 23 years. When I got up there, all the people that have helped me from 5 years old to this year went running through my mind. Kevin Negandhi back with you as we unveil the Heisman finalists tonight on a new show with our 1991 winner, Desmond Howard, as well as our 2007 winner, that is Tim Tebow. Now, we will get to the top 4 in a moment. Let's just take a look back and start at number 10 in the Heisman voting. That's headlined by the best tight end in college football, Kyle Pitts of Florida. Then we go with a group of quarterbacks. Notre Dame's Ian Book, the all-time winningest quarterback in South Bend. BYU's Zach Wilson follows in the 8th spot as he led the Cougars to a bowl win earlier this week. And Big Ten Offensive Player of the Year, Justin Fields of Ohio State, is 6th in the Heisman voting. Right in front of them, a pair of running backs, the FBS leader in rushing, Breece Hall of Iowa State, and Alabama star Najee Harris and his 27 touchdowns. Any other year, you could say Harris should be involved and included inside the top 4. And when we name this year's Heisman finalists, I want to remind you as well, we're going to do this by alphabetical order of the last names of the final 4. And there they are. And it starts, of course, with the letter J. Mac Jones, Alabama quarterback, looking to become the first Bama quarterback to win the Heisman. Redshirt junior from Jacksonville set a school record with 4 games of at least 400 passing yards, including a record this past weekend in the SEC championship game with 418 in the air. Des, where did Jones take this offense to the next level this season?
I tell you what, I was so impressed with Mac Jones, man. Coming to this season, there was a lot of buzz because of the way he finished the 2019 season, but he came in and, man, he used all his weapons, and the way that he distributed the ball was impressive. We're talking about a young man that threw for over 3,700 yards, guys, 32 touchdowns to only 4 INTs, and 340 yards per game, completed 76% of his passes. I mean, lightning, quick release, great accuracy. Threw just a catchable ball that the guys can get it and go with it. You know, Devonta Smith, Mechie, Waddle, when he was healthy, he just had like a spoils of riches as far as the talent is concerned around him, and he utilized those weapons extremely well. Mac Jones, is good to see that he's a finalist.
Next up for number 1 Alabama, Mac Jones, Notre Dame in the college football semifinals, New Year's Day on ESPN. Once again, this is in alphabetical order. Another finalist. He was the preseason favorite. That is Clemson's Trevor Lawrence. Before the junior tested positive for COVID, Lawrence threw for 18 touchdowns and 2 picks in the first 6 games of the season. That signature win for him was the ACC championship where he stood out against the Fighting Irish. Tim, you know, this isn't a lifetime achievement award, but it's hard to ignore the impact Lawrence has had on this team this season.
Yeah, you could just listen to how Dabo Swinney talks about him and the impact that he has had on Clemson. But also, I want people to take notice. Listen, their backup DJ is going to be a great player, and he really was. But there's a difference when Trevor's not on the field. And there's a lot of stats that I could mention, but stats don't do Trevor Lawrence justice because this kid is tough. He is a leader. He is the heart and soul of Clemson football right now. That's the difference. That's why Trevor is one of the best players in the country and probably going to be the first pick in the NFL draft, is because everything he brings to the table, not just accuracy, not just a big arm, but his ability to do everything, including lead, which we forget. Leadership as a quarterback is probably the most important thing.
No Clemson players ever won the Heisman. Deshaun Watson finished 2nd and 3rd in back-to-back seasons just a few years ago. 34-1 as a starter, best by any FBS quarterback since the FBS-FCS split in 1978. We continue in alphabetical order. Our Heisman finalists, a wide receiver, a special place in the hearts of many in Tuscaloosa. That is Devonta Smith. Freshman season, caught the game-winning touchdown in overtime, a walk-off win over Georgia in the national championship. But Smith has made sure he wasn't known for just one catch, and that is, Des, in a season dominated by quarterbacks, he was the SEC Offensive Player of the Year.
Yes, he was, and deservingly so. I mean, this young man was so impressive, and he can, as a wideout, he can affect you at all 3 levels. First, at the starting point, line of scrimmage, he can get off the press. Secondly, he's like Kyle Pitts. He's a technician when it comes to running routes. And third, great catching radius, excellent hands, another young man with tremendous confidence in his hands. That one-handed grab against LSU, that's legendary. And I tell you what, guys, 1,500 yards receiving. Are you kidding? 17 touchdown grabs, but average 15 yards per catch. Oh, man, what a special player Devonta Smith was this year. And it's no surprise that you got Mac Jones, his quarterback, in there, too. And look at this. Look at this. Look, pretty good comparison to the last guy who won the Heisman, too, back about 55 years ago. No, I'm just joking. But some good numbers from Devonta Smith.
That, by the way, that's a clean fade that you had back in 1991. Looking very smooth right there. And that is the last time we saw a wide receiver win the Heisman back in 1991, the great Desmond Howard. All right, we're going to continue this in alphabetical order, and let's go with the Florida quarterback, and that is Kyle Trask. The redshirt senior put up video game numbers in that offense with the Gators, setting 8 school records here. He's looking to become the 4th Florida player to win the Heisman. All the previous 3 were quarterbacks, including our teammate Tim. And, you know, Tim, 18 months ago, he was a backup at Florida. What's been the most impressive part of his growth in this system?
Well, it's his heart and his determination. When no one believed in him, he believed in himself. And he has come out and he has proved that he is an unbelievable player. In 8 school records. Listen, you're right. It is video games for this kid. But I want to tell you why. It's because he is extremely smart. He knows exactly what's going to happen before it happens. And he throws with great anticipation and accuracy. I think his anticipation is the best in the country because he knows what the defense is doing and how to take advantage of that. And Dan Mullen put him in great positions to use his strength, and then he put the ball in great positions just like that, where the ball is perfect, where his receivers and running backs can make plays after the catch. That's why he put up those video game type numbers.
Oh, he led the FBS in passing yards and touchdowns, dynamic plays downfield. All right, guys, we are down to 4, 3 quarterbacks plus 1. Des, your reaction to this finalist group here?
Very impressed with this group, very deserving. I'm excited to see who's going to walk away with the hardware. I think this is probably the group that if you had to pick who would be the 4th finalist, these would have been the 4 names at the top of the list. So this is a very exciting time for these guys. I can't wait to see who's going to join our very exclusive fraternity.
Tim, you want to weigh in here, especially when you look at this group. This will be the first time in 3 years that we will not have a transfer in the finalist group here winning the Heisman. Your thoughts?
Yeah, that's pretty interesting that you bring that up. But what really stands out to me, Des and Kevin, is when you look at all these guys, you can make a really good argument for every single one of them on why they should win the Heisman, on their Heisman moment, of how they stood out, of how they're the most valuable player. And so I think there's arguments, and in all my years of voting, I think this is the toughest vote of really trying to write out all the pros and cons of every single person, because I take the vote so seriously, and I really believe this was the hardest year because they're all so deserving.
Well said there. Specifically, too, at the beginning of the season, everybody had Trevor Lawrence and Justin Fields, and then in the middle of the season became a week-to-week balloting thing, right? And thankfully, you saved your vote till the end after watching the conference championships. Des, is this the closest vote in recent memory in your mind?
Yeah, it was a tough vote. I'll tell you what, those guys, man, they had a tremendous season, especially when you look at everything that they had against them. But this was a tough vote. I think hopefully we got it right.
No doubt. A special night ahead. Congratulations to everyone. The 86th Heisman Trophy ceremony presented by Nissan will take place on Tuesday, January 5th, 7 p.m. on ESPN. Good night from Bristol.